We are told the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the sacred timeline, the prime reality from which all other stories branch out like frayed threads. But what if everything we have been watching for the past decade and a half is nothing more than a cosmic mistake? What if the impending doom approaching in the next Avengers film is not just a battle for survival, but a reckoning for a stolen reality? The prevailing thought is that the mutants will simply make a glorified cameo appearance, a nostalgic nod before the real heroes take the stage. The truth, however, is far more terrifying and brilliant. The mutants are not just a footnote in this multiversal crisis, they are the absolute epicenter of it, the reality where the X-Men exist. The universe fostered by Fox for over 2 decades is actually the original primary timeline of creation. Every other reality, including the beloved cinematic universe we have followed since Tony Stark built his first suit in a cave, is merely a fractured offshoot. This single revelation changes everything we know about the upcoming mutant saga, painting a picture where existence itself is fighting to correct a massive historical anomaly. To understand how this cosmic correction is happening, we have to look directly at the man trying to force it into place, Dr. Doom. We know that this variant of Tony Stark is the central antagonist of this sprawling narrative, but the real mystery is the darkness that consumed him. How does a man who sacrificed everything to save his universe become the very architect of its destruction? The answer lies in Stark's fundamental, unshakable flaw: his desperate need to put a suit of armor around the world. He has always craved a system that operates with flawless logic, a reality that can be controlled and protected. But as he looks out across the vast, infinite expanse of the multiverse, all he sees is a chaotic, bleeding mess. Ever since Loki made the ultimate sacrifice to sit upon the throne at the end of time, holding the branching realities together with his bare hands, the multiverse has experienced infinite possibilities. But it has also birthed infinite devastation. The tree of time is overgrown, tangled, and suffocating under its own weight, leaving someone like Stark with a horrifying realization that the only way to save reality is to violently prune it. This multiversal overgrown garden has not been helped by the careless actions of those who should know better. We have watched characters like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man tear holes in the fabric of space and time to solve their immediate problems, completely blind to the catastrophic ripples they were sending across infinity. They treated the multiverse like a tool, a magical convenience, and in doing so, they accelerated the most terrifying threat imaginable: incursions. When 2 universes collide, neither survives unless one is destroyed first. This is the ticking clock of Avengers Doomsday. Doom is not simply killing for power. He is acting as a cosmic surgeon, systematically eradicating the realities that threaten the stability of the whole. He is wiping out the problematic universes to stop the incursions from wiping out everything. He intends to reshape all of reality into a singular, impenetrable domain under his absolute control. And in this grand, horrifying design, the universe of the X-Men stands as the most critical puzzle piece, the foundational bedrock that Doom must either conquer or destroy to build his perfect world. If we look back at the history of Marvel cinema, the mutant franchise has always held a bizarre, isolated significance. When the corporate titans merged and the rights to these characters finally returned home, the easiest path would have been a slow, quiet integration. They could have simply dropped mutants into the background of new films and pretended they had always been there, hiding in the shadows. Instead, they chose a path of absolute narrative brilliance. They are utilizing the climax of the Multiverse saga to give those classic foundational films a spectacular, unprecedented farewell. But this is not just about nostalgia. It is about tying the very mechanics of existence to their actions. From a purely narrative standpoint, the characters within the mutant universe have been carelessly playing God with timelines since the late 1990s. They have fractured their own history so many times that their universe is essentially a temporal war zone. This reckless manipulation of time is exactly what caught the attention of the wider cosmos, setting the stage for a collision between the mutants who broke time and the man in the iron mask who intends to fix it. The history of that mutant-centric reality is drastically different from the one we know, particularly when you examine the role of magic and alien intervention. In the world of the Avengers, Earth was constantly molded by outside forces, visited by gods, and invaded by extraterrestrial armies. But in the reality of the X-Men, Earth was left largely alone. Why? Because dating all the way back to ancient Egypt and the reign of Apocalypse, Earth already possessed godlike beings. The planet was populated by incredibly powerful, superpowered mutants who acted as a natural, biological deterrent. Alien empires and cosmic conquerors likely looked at Earth, saw beings capable of manipulating magnetism, weather, and the mind itself, and decided to steer clear of the sector entirely. Because of this natural mutant defense system, the historical dominoes fell completely differently. Odin never felt the need to leave the Tesseract hidden on Earth, because the planet was already secure. And without that singular, glowing blue cube left in Norway, the entire technological and magical arms race that defined the 20th century in our known universe never happened. This fundamental difference in history brings us to the actual mechanics of time travel, which is the exact mechanism that shattered the multiverse in the first place. When the Avengers pulled off their time heist to reverse the snap, we learned a very specific, unbreakable rule. When you travel to the past, your present becomes your past, and the past you arrived in becomes a brand new, branching reality. You cannot change your own history. You can only create a new one. But the mutant universe completely ignored this natural law, engaging in a level of temporal abuse that makes the Avengers look like amateurs. They did not just create branches, they actively overwrote their own existence. The sheer volume of temporal manipulation in their reality is staggering. And every single time they did it, they strained the very fabric of the multiverse, stretching the rubber band of reality until it began to snap, creating micro fissures across all of existence that would eventually lead to the catastrophic incursions threatening Doom's grand design. Consider the catastrophic events of Days of Future Past. Kitty Pryde used her abilities to send Logan's consciousness decades into the past, overriding his younger self to rewrite a dark, apocalyptic future. For years, we viewed this as just a unique mutant power, but looking at it through the lens of modern cosmic rules, Kitty was essentially forcing Logan to dreamwalk. As we learned the hard way during the terrifying events of Multiverse of Madness, dreamwalking across time and space is the absolute fastest way to trigger an incursion. The dark magic required to project a consciousness into an alternate vessel decays the boundaries between realities. When Logan successfully changed the past, he awoke in a bright, shiny new timeline, completely abandoning the ruined original reality to wither and die in the darkness. He unknowingly became the nexus being of that new, altered reality, anchoring it to existence. And as the concept of the anchor being dictates, the moment he eventually perishes, that entire timeline begins to slowly, inevitably unravel, bleeding out into the void and destabilizing the multiversal branches around it. The temporal vandalism did not stop with Logan. We have to look at the absolute absurdity of the future depicted in the second Deadpool film. In Cable's timeline, Time travel is not some mythical, impossible feat achieved by the world's smartest minds working in tandem. It is literally a piece of technology you can wear on your wrist and slide like a dial. It became commonplace, accessible, and completely unregulated. Cable casually slides back to alter personal tragedies, spawning entire branches of reality without a second thought. And when Wade Wilson gets his hands on that same device, he treats the space-time continuum like a playground. He jumps back and forth, saving friends, shooting alternate versions of himself, and blatantly breaking every known law of temporal physics. Every single time he jumped, he fractured reality again and again, creating an endless labyrinth of mutant-centric timelines. All of this chaotic evidence points to one undeniable truth. This chaotic, mutant-filled reality is the ancient original trunk of the multiversal tree, and timelines completely devoid of mutants are the unnatural anomalies branching off from it. This relentless tearing of the timeline is not confined to the live-action films either. It is deeply embedded in the very DNA of their animated counterparts, further proving that the mutant corner of the multiverse is fundamentally tied to its collapse. The animated series and its brilliant revival continually show characters venturing into the past to alter horrific tragedies, but they run into the horrifying reality of the absolute point in time, the canon events that simply cannot be changed without shattering the universe itself. When you try to save someone whose death is woven into the architecture of reality, the universe pushes back violently. By constantly trying to undo these fixed points, the mutants inadvertently accelerate the collapse of the dimensional walls. They are basically taking a sledgehammer to the pillars of reality in desperate attempts to save their loved ones. Each swing of that hammer weakens the barrier between dimensions, making the inevitability of incursions not just a possibility, but a guaranteed apocalyptic certainty that someone will eventually have to address. The animated universe also provides a terrifying missing link to the cosmic hierarchy overseeing this mess. During the classic Beyond Good and Evil narrative arc, Apocalypse realized the limitations of mutant power and sought to conquer all of reality by gathering the universe's most powerful psychics at a location known as the Axis of Time. This was a place existing completely outside the normal flow of the universe, a vantage point over all creation. It was there that we caught a glimpse of an archivist named Bender. But Bender was not just a humble caretaker. He was a disguised manifestation of Immortus, one of the most powerful and cunning variants of Kang the Conqueror. This single detail proves that Kang has always been inextricably linked to the mutant timeline, monitoring their reckless temporal behavior from the shadows. It stands to reason that this ancient, hidden axis of time, originally discovered in the mutant reality, was eventually taken over, heavily modified, and transformed into the very citadel where He Who Remains sat isolated, managing the sacred timeline. So, if the mutant universe is the ancient original timeline, how did our familiar cinematic universe even come to exist? If we dive deep into the comic lore, we know that eons ago, the towering, godlike Celestials visited Earth and experimented on early humanity, planting a dormant genetic code that would eventually awaken as the X gene. They created mutants to serve as an evolutionary immune system for the planet. But what if, amidst all this chaotic, unregulated time travel, someone ventured back to the dawn of humanity and sabotaged that experiment? What if a temporal wanderer erased the X gene before it ever had a chance to bloom? The result would be a reality entirely stripped of its natural protectors. The absence of mutants is what forced Odin to intervene and leave the Tesseract in Norway as a backup defense. That singular action allowed Hydra to rise. It inspired Howard Stark to harness its energy into an arc reactor, and it directly led to Tony Stark forging the Iron Man armor. The entire cinematic universe we love is built on the ruins of a hijacked timeline. This brings us crashing back to the impending nightmare of Avengers Doomsday and the terrifying clarity of Dr. Doom's ultimate ambition. Doom recognizes that the multiverse is a corrupted, dying organism, a rotting tree that needs to be burned down so something stronger can grow in its place. To construct his impregnable, unified reality, he cannot rely on conventional technology. He needs raw, unparalleled cosmic power. He is scouring the decaying branches of the multiverse for very specific children, beings born from the union of different realities or possessing godlike potential. He is hunting for anomalies like Steve Rogers' forgotten son, the cosmically empowered daughter of Thor known as Love, or the reality-warping prodigy Franklin Richards. Doom does not want to recruit them, he wants to harvest them. He intends to use their unique multiversal signatures as biological batteries, channeling their immense, unstable energy to forcefully collapse infinite chaotic realities into one single, easily controlled domain where he reigns supreme, safely hidden away from the threat of incursions. However, human batteries alone might not be enough to reshape all of existence, which is why Doom requires an instrument of absolute cosmic authority. In this apocalyptic scenario, the daughter of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, Rachel Summers, steps into the spotlight as the ultimate key to salvation or destruction. Rachel is uniquely important because she serves as the host for the Phoenix Force. We often mistake the Phoenix as a simple entity of fire and death, but it is actually the cosmos' fundamental engine of destruction and rebirth. It burns away what is stagnant and dead so that new life can flourish in the ashes. Doom needs the Phoenix. He requires its unfathomable power to act as his cosmic scalpel, slicing away the dead, chaotic timelines and burning the multiversal tree down to a single, pristine stump. Rachel Summers, carrying the weight of the original mutant timeline, becomes the most dangerous weapon in existence. A multiversal spark that Doom will stop at nothing to capture and control. As this cosmic chess game unfolds, the ripples of Doom's hunt are being felt even in the quietest, street-level corners of reality, bringing us to the fascinating mystery surrounding the next Spider-Man chapter. Whispers regarding a brand new day for Peter Parker have heavily focused on a mysterious new character, rumored to be played by Sadie Sink. Reports suggest she possesses powerful mind control abilities and is being relentlessly hunted by the Department of Damage Control, painting a very clear picture of a young mutant hiding in plain sight. But what if she is not just a newly awakened psychic? What if she is a young Jean Grey? Or even more compellingly, a displaced Rachel Summers who has fled across the multiverse to hide from Doom's relentless pursuit. If this terrified, telepathic fugitive has crashed into Peter Parker's already complicated life, it instantly elevates a gritty, street-level neighborhood story into a critical, high-stakes prelude. It means the war for the multiverse has already arrived on Peter's doorstep, directly linking the friendly neighborhood hero to the cataclysmic events of Doomsday. The threads are all pulling together into one massive, terrifying knot. And the revelation that the mutants are the architects of reality's collapse changes how we will view every single frame of this upcoming saga. I want to know exactly what you all think about this massive temporal shift and how you see the Phoenix playing into Doom's terrifying vision for a new reality. Drop your wildest theories, your questions, and your counter-arguments down in the comments section below so we can keep piecing this cosmic puzzle together. If you enjoyed diving deep into the multiversal madness with me today, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow timeline travelers, and absolutely smash subscribe to stay updated on all things cinema. This is your host Liam Harrison from MovieCast, thanking you so much for sticking with me until the very end, and I will see you all in the next timeline.